house. When it comes to remodeling and renovating your home, there is a lot to know, but we've got you covered. This is Around the House.
Welcome to Around the House with Eric G. and Caroline B. This is our Pro Insider podcast. This is where I sit here and talk about things related to the trades, contractors, designers, everything to do with residential construction. Thanks for joining us today. Now, today I'm going to talk about a controversial subject, which we like tackling here on the Pro Insider podcast. Now, this kind of got me thinking a week or two ago, and my buddy Jason McDaniel from the Global Tile Posse did a Facebook feed, and he brought up this subject, and I've been thinking about it for almost 2 weeks now. And I like it when other professionals out there say something and make me go, I really haven't thought of it from that way. And so today's working title for this episode is going to be, when your 30 years of experience don't mean anything. Now here's why. I am on a lot of different social media pages, from homeowners to specialty contractors to all the rest of that stuff. And there are, and I'll be the first to say I have done this in the past, and I'm not doing it anymore for this very reason. There are people out there that go, I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is how it's done. And for somebody who's been designing kitchens and bathrooms for nearly 30 years, kind of caught myself doing that from time to time if I take a look back on social media or anywhere else. But here's the fact, guys, ladies and gentlemen, just because you have been doing this for 30 years, whatever it is, doesn't mean you're right. It doesn't. Check that ego and make sure that you know exactly what you're talking about. Because many times, because you've been doing it that way means that that's a skill you learned 30 years ago, and you haven't been flexible enough to stay up with the times. And that means maybe your 30 years experience of doing it that way puts you at a disadvantage versus the contractor that's been doing 10 years and knows how to do it a new and better and higher tech way that's going to last longer. Now, I get into these battles on the old house groups, and there's a group out there that's really specifically this bad, and I'm going to call them up by name. It's called Our Old House. This is a group that can have some really great old house posts. But there's also some people on there that no matter what, that old 150-year-old house is built so much better than any new crap box today. It doesn't matter that the house was never tied down to a foundation. It doesn't matter that the ceilings were sagging because there was no engineering. It doesn't matter that if you had an 80-mile-an-hour wind come by with a tornado, it could blow it off the foundation, or that it was grossly unengineered, or even has balloon framing so a small basement fire can burn down the top floor in seconds. They are in belief that because it was always done that way, it's better. And that's really a flaw that we see in the trade sometimes. Because as we figure stuff out, as we do engineering, as we see new products, things get better, guys. They do. Now, I have all the respect in the world for old world craftsmanship, and that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the products and materials that make things better. And you can really get caught in this whole mess of I've been doing it for 30 years, and that's how we do it. I mean, think of a framing contractor. Are you out there with a hammer and a bag of nails and you're hand hammering things because that's how you did it 30 years ago? Do you have that skilled Model 77 saw with a 100-foot cord going to the power pole because you don't want to run any battery tools? Sometimes doing it the old way, when there's better tech, makes you more efficient and you get a better job out of it. Look at laser levels out there. You can get stuff dialed in so much quicker. If you get that laser set in correct and you're good, man, you can shoot a line and you're off and going. 20 years ago, you're doing the math, figuring that out. So these are things that you should be thinking about. Just because it's new doesn't mean it's better, but many times those things are there. So what's my request for our building community out there this week? Maybe think about the keyboard warrior. Now, I have no problem throwing shade on people when they're wrong and trying to give people bad advice. I'd much rather educate. I'm not on there throwing too much hate out there, I don't think. But I call a spade where it needs to be. So I'll put that little asterisk next to it. But just because you've been doing it for 30 years, think about, is that really the best way? Or is there a new product or another way of doing it that's going to get better and be more efficient and work out that way? So something to think about, guys, out there when you're on social media and stuff. And I get it. I mean, I love all the different trades groups that I'm in because, man, there are so many different ways of doing things, but there's a lot of great ways to learn from that too. So something to think about today. All right, guys. Well, here's one little secret. If you haven't been listening to Around the House radio show or podcast, we are giving away a Santa Fe dehumidifier. So if you need that for a project, if you need that for your house, need that for your workshop, we're giving one away. So head over to aroundthehouseonline.com for those details and enter to win. So that's a great one to grab. And then, a couple things here I want you to pay attention to before we head out and call this a Pro Insider. Make sure that you keep attention, pay attention over there to the IBS International Building Show, Design and Construction Week. I will have my own stage over there, and that's going to be the home technology stage in the West Hall. So we're going to be talking home tech. We're going to be talking so many different things over there. I think I've got 17 or 18 seminars and classes I'll be giving over there in roundtables. So make sure that you can make it over there and have a good time with that, because we're going to be doing that, as well as we're talking about some around the house live shows over in that area at the end of the day too. So maybe I can buy you a beer over there and we can have a live show and talk about contractors, home improvement, and the rest of that stuff. So let's see if we can put that together. All right, everybody, be kind to each other out there. Make sure that we're cool to everybody, and let's all get along. And when there's new stuff out there, I'll be bringing it to you. All right, everybody, see you in 2 weeks on Around the House Pro Insider. Thanks for listening to Around the House.
Anywhere beyond the mean, life is a love song, let's be lovers. We're all over the radio, take my